Welcome to Bedcrime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T, and I hope you're having a great day. It's Monday. Let's start the week on a good note. Please do me a favor. If you enjoy my content, please hit that like button. Now let's get started. For those of you who have been thinking that Debbie Collier's daughter, 36-year-old Amanda Bearden, may be allegedly involved in this crime, you're not alone. The Habersham Sheriff's Office is also considering that a possibility. They obtained a search warrant for Amanda Bearden's home. Search warrants aren't easy to obtain. To get one, the detectives will have had to show the judge there was probable cause. I would imagine that the fact that Amanda said she and her mother went out to dinner and ran errands on Friday night might be something that piqued the detectives' interest. Debbie's husband, Stephen Collier, said he last saw Debbie at 9 p.m. on Friday when he retired to a separate room to go to sleep. Apparently, his snoring was a problem, keeping Debbie from getting adequate rest. And let me just say that I can relate. Is it possible that Amanda Bearden was at the home later than 9 p.m. on Friday? If so, could she be the last person in the family to have seen her mother alive? That would automatically make her the first suspect. Last one to see the victim alive, first one to consider a suspect and to check out. That is typically how it goes in homicide cases. There was also some sort of fight at the Colliers' home Friday night, according to their neighbors, who heard an argument and commotion coming from the residence. Was that Amanda fighting with her mother, or was someone else having that argument? If the police know it was Amanda with Debbie, that too would likely put Amanda at the top of the list of the first people to interview. But she would have been interviewed anyway because she's part of the inner circle of Debbie's family and her life. And then there's the bizarre Venmo transaction with a very specific amount, $2,385, along with the cryptic note that was clearly designed to make it look as if Debbie was with kidnappers. And again, this is all allegedly. I don't know anything about who actually did this. I'm speculating. Let's say Amanda was the perpetrator. Perhaps in her mind, receiving such a note apparently from alleged kidnappers, that would make her look like she couldn't possibly be the kidnapper, right? Was that cryptic note done deliberately to throw the police off the scent of her trail? Again, this is me speculating. I don't know anything about who actually did this, and I'm not saying that Amanda Bearden is in any way responsible for her mother's demise. However, I would like to know if she and her boyfriend, Andrew, have verified alibis for the period during which Debbie was done in. The autopsy report should be able to narrow down the time of death, and then the police will be able to see where everyone was during that range of time. On another note, the police have said that Debbie Collier appeared calm during her time in the Family Dollar store, as did the clerk who waited on her. Is it possible that Debbie was asked to purchase those items for a game day gathering that she was led to believe she would be attending somewhere near Clayton, Georgia? Maybe Debbie didn't know what was coming when she was in the store. Maybe she thought she was just buying items for a party. I mean, that would explain her calm demeanor and her not asking the clerk for help. Is it possible that after she exited the store, Someone then let themselves be known and then forced Debbie to send that Venmo with that message. Could that someone have been hiding in the rented Chrysler Pacifica under something and had a gun in hand to say, send this money right now with this message, or else I'm gonna hurt you? And could that have been the same person who lured Debbie to the Clayton area for a fake game day party in the first place? The person who requested specific items that would later be used in the crime. Great idea as a criminal to have the victim purchase the items needed to carry out the crime. That should throw the police off, right? You never want to be the one seen on camera walking out of the Home Depot with the duct tape in hand. Could this explain the bizarre driving in the shopping center parking lot? And did the person force Debbie to drive to that location near Clarksville, where she would later be found deceased? I think it's possible. It definitely feels as if this crime was premeditated to some extent. Now, a lot of people are confused about why Debbie was found clutching the base of a tree. I heard Bill Cannon of Police Off the Cuff say that this could have happened if a gun was used and Debbie grabbed for the tree to prevent herself from falling. I hadn't thought of that because Debbie's body reportedly did not show signs of a gunshot wound. However, I know of cases where police didn't notice a gunshot on the victim at first glance, and only after the coroner examined the body was a gunshot wound found. Young Stephen Smith of the Murdoch case, whose body was found on Sandy Run Road in Hampton County, South Carolina, comes to mind. His case was initially ruled a hit and run. Only later did a coroner suggest that it was possible that the injury to his eye socket and the back of his head could have been caused by a bullet. Sometimes as well, hair can cover a wound, and sometimes there's not a lot of blood from a gunshot wound. Personally, though, I think there's a strong likelihood that the perpetrator used his or her hands to harm Debbie Collier. We've been told by law enforcement that this was a very personal crime. I see rage behind this heinous act, and hands on the neck are one of the most, excuse the word, intimate ways to do someone in. We saw that in the Gabby Petito case. Hands on the neck also leaves no gunshot residue on the perpetrator and no blood spatter on clothing, etc. Using gloves would prevent the perpetrator's fingerprints and DNA from getting on the victim, although DNA can come off the perpetrator and go on to the victim or items around the victim in other ways. Hair, skin, saliva, sweat on a piece of material, a used cigarette, and so on. And the charring on Debbie Collier's abdomen indicates possibly that the perpetrator was either attempting to destroy evidence, or he or she or they wanted to make Debbie Collier suffer as much as possible. Back to Amanda Bearden. We've heard recordings of calls she made to the police. She seemed intent on chatting with the detective in charge. Now, that could be normal concern and a desire to assist the authorities, or it could be her trying to find out what the police know and what they're thinking. Was she also trying to appear as a very caring, desperate for answers kind of daughter? Or was Amanda genuinely upset and genuinely intent on helping the detectives find answers? She sounded like she was genuinely crying at times. Take a listen.
Hi, my name's Amanda Bearden, and I filed a missing persons report on my mother last night, yesterday, and I was just wondering if maybe I could speak with the detective that's been assigned to the case.
Do you have any further information?
I sure do. Do you want the case number?
I the case number so I can look it up that way.
Bear with me just a second. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Okay, it's 2022 dash 0910 0216.
216.
Yes, ma'am.
And the detective may not actually be in the building yet, so I may have to get your patrol officer, okay? So just bear with me just a second.
Okay.
So 09010.
I'm sorry, the handwriting's not that great, but it's 09100216. You're fine, it's only me.
On Rocky Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what kind of update do you have, just so I know what to try to...
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean like I had an update. I just meant... Oh, my God, I didn't mean... I'm sorry, I'm not in a clear mental state. This is my mother that's missing. I just wanted to talk to them. I wanted to see if maybe there was something that I could do. I do have the rental agreement number if they needed that. That's the only thing that I have to offer. So maybe, because she was in a rental car, I do have her rental agreement number. If they could maybe trace the GPS in it.
What's your phone number?
I'm her daughter.
Yes, ma'am. Take a deep breath for me, okay?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'd be upset too. I completely understand that part, like being upset about it. So the officer that took your report is already gone for the day. He worked last night. And then the detectives, I don't think they're in the building right now. They're kind of working on an on-call basis, so I don't know that I can get in touch with them unless I have something, fresh to give them. That would be something, but I can see if I can get another officer to call you back, okay? We've got the bolo out for, we got everybody, keeping their eyes peeled for, and that kind of thing. So,
I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here or anything, but do I need to hire a private detective maybe? Because and I'm not trying to be ugly or anything, but I don't understand I know you don't know everything, of course, but why it hasn't, what I've asked being done, why isn't the GPS in the van being traced? Do I need a private detective to do that? I'm not trying to be ugly or anything. I just, the most help.
Okay, so here's the thing. She's an
She's an adult.
Right.
Okay.
So that makes things a little more difficult because people are allowed to leave and go and do things without telling other people. And I know that's not a good answer. I understand that. But that is also, that is also part of it because she is an adult. So it just takes some time also to do these things. And so I don't specifically know what they've done yet or not. I wasn't here last night, so I don't know. But from my understanding, they would be doing everything that we know to do currently. But I will definitely get somebody to call you back, okay?
Okay, thank you for talking to me.
It's no problem. I'm so sorry. I hate that this is happening to you. What was your name again, sweetie?
Amanda Bearden.
Amanda Bearden. Spell your last name?
Bearden.
I'll get somebody to call you back here shortly, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Did you hear Amanda Bearden ask the lady if she needed to hire a private investigator? Was that an attempt to appear genuinely eager to get answers and to find her mother? Amanda was asking this question fairly early after her mother went missing. It's not like the case has gone cold. Her mother hadn't even been found at that point. Also, Amanda said at first that she had information to share, and then it turns out she really didn't have anything other than the number for the rental vehicle. It just strikes me as a very odd thing to ask at that point. Maybe I'm all wet though. Maybe I'd be doing the same thing, trying to push the police, because Debbie hadn't been found at that point, and perhaps Amanda really was genuinely terrified of what was going on. Let's talk about the rental vehicle being parked near the crime scene. We know that the Chrysler Pacifica was seen there by a police officer at 5 p.m. on Saturday, September 10th, the day Debbie Collier shopped at the Family Dollar store and was later reported missing. Debbie drove out of the parking lot from that Family Dollar store at 3:19 p.m. It seems likely that she ended up at that location in Clarksville right after she left the parking lot. I located a Family Dollar store in Clayton, Georgia, and checked the distance between it and Clarksville, where Debbie Collier's remains were found. It would have been a 25-mile journey that would have taken about 29 minutes. Barring any major traffic issues, if she drove straight there. That would mean that she arrived around 3:50 p.m. in Clarksville. If the perpetrator marched Debbie down the ravine at around 3:50 p.m. or say 4 p.m., and we know that Debbie's rented vehicle was spotted by that police officer at 5 p.m., does that mean that the crime was taking place between 4 and 5 p.m.? Maybe. Of course, the crime could have taken less time or more time than 1 hour. The van could have been sitting there all day Saturday from 5 p.m. onward and into Sunday. We just don't know. But knowing the van was there on Saturday at 5 p.m. narrows the timeline because of when Debbie drove out of the Family Dollar store parking lot. Remember, she drove out at 3:19 p.m. Of course, it's also possible that the perpetrator was driving a different vehicle the whole time. We don't yet know. Let me know your thoughts about my speculations here in the comments. Please hit that like button. And if you're not yet a member, please consider subscribing. And let me apologize one more time for sounding so congested. I'm still trying to get over this virus.